When Sarah and I got married, I thought I had found my forever partner. We had been together for 5 years before tying the knot, and I believed we understood each other perfectly. She had a male best friend named Eric, and while I never really liked how close they were, I trusted her completely. Eric was always around, helping her with errands, talking late into the night, even joining us for dinner sometimes. I told myself it was harmless, just friendship. But I didn't realize how wrong I was. Things started changing about 2 years into our marriage. Sarah began spending more time with Eric than with me. If I suggested a date night, she'd say she was busy. If I asked her to go out for a weekend trip, she'd say, "Eric and I already have plans." I tried to talk to her about it, but she always brushed me off, saying I was overthinking. "He's just my friend," she said with an annoyed tone. I wanted to believe her, so I kept quiet. Then one evening, we were having dinner at home when Sarah suddenly said something that froze me. "I think we should make our marriage more open-minded," she said. I didn't understand what she meant, so I asked her to explain. She smiled and said, "I want Eric to be a part of our marriage." I nearly dropped my fork. For a moment, I thought I had misheard her. But she repeated it, saying she wanted to share emotional and personal experiences with him while still being married to me. I sat there in disbelief, trying to find words. "Are you saying you want another man involved in our marriage?" I asked. She nodded calmly, as if it was a normal suggestion. I felt anger, confusion, and heartbreak all at once. She said I was being too traditional, and that I needed to grow emotionally. I couldn't believe she was justifying emotional betrayal as modern love. That night, I couldn't sleep. My heart was pounding with anger. I kept replaying her words in my head. The woman I married, who once said I was her everything, now wanted to include another man in our sacred bond. I realized something important. She didn't respect me or our marriage anymore. The next morning, I packed a small bag and left for a few days. I needed space to think. While I was away, I received texts from Sarah saying I was being dramatic and that I should learn to accept change. But in my heart, I knew there was no going back. Trust once broken can't be fixed with excuses. When I returned home, I asked her one simple question: "Are you in love with him?" She looked away for a moment and then whispered, "I don't know." That was all I needed to hear. The woman I loved wasn't confused. She was just trying to keep both of us in her life. I wasn't going to let that happen. Without saying much else, I called a lawyer the next day. I told Sarah I was filing for divorce. Her reaction was shock and anger. She accused me of being insecure and said I was throwing away our marriage over a new idea. I calmly replied, "Marriage isn't a game where you add people when you get bored." The divorce process wasn't easy. She tried to make me feel guilty, even crying and saying I'd regret it. But I stood firm. I had already spent too long trying to save something she had already given up on. The day the papers were finalized, I felt both sad and free. It was like closing a painful chapter. A few months later, I heard she and Eric had started dating openly. It didn't surprise me. What shocked me was how quickly she moved on, as if our years together meant nothing. But instead of feeling bitter, I felt relieved. At least now, everything was in the open. Looking back, I realize love without respect is an illusion. Sarah thought she could redefine loyalty to fit her desires, but that only revealed who she truly was. I gave her my trust, and she gave it away to someone else. Life after the divorce has been peaceful. I moved to a new apartment, started focusing on my work, and reconnected with old friends. I learned that sometimes walking away isn't weakness, it's self-respect. If Sarah ever realizes what she lost, it won't matter. Because I've already found something more valuable than her love, my dignity. And that's something I'll never let anyone take from me again.